person in me that will strip Spain bare if you dare to try me!
Queen Elizabeth I ruled England like a legend, but her hygiene, absolutely shocking. Elizabeth I was glamorous, powerful, and feared, but behind her jewels and porcelain makeup, she had some of the most disgusting hygiene habits in history, practices that would horrify anyone today.
To the north, I present unto you Elizabeth, your undoubted queen. To the south, I present to you Elizabeth, your undoubted queen.
And here's where it gets even stranger. Queen Elizabeth had a sugar addiction like you wouldn't believe. I mean, we're talking candied violets, fruits soaked in syrup, sweet almond marzipan, and desserts dripping with sugar. She practically bathed in it. Not just a little treat here and there. Sugar was everywhere in her meals. It was a status symbol, a way to flaunt England's wealth. But I swear, the irony is just wild. Now get this, she didn't just eat sugar, she actually used it on her teeth. Yes, sugar. In a homemade toothpaste. Let that sink in for a second. The very thing rotting her teeth was what she smeared all over them to try to clean them. According to me, that's like pouring gasoline on a fire and hoping it'll cool down. And if you think that's bad, she also used gritty powders that scraped away enamel, so instead of a bright smile, she was accelerating the decay. By the 1590s, foreign visitors noticed her teeth were black, broken, and sometimes missing entirely. Her breath? Let's just say people reportedly had to step back, cover their noses, or even struggle to understand her speech. Imagine trying to have a conversation with the Queen and smelling that. I mean, I can't even. But here's the kicker. Her stubbornness didn't stop her from being a trendsetter. Court ladies saw her black teeth and thought, if the Queen has black teeth, then black teeth must mean beauty and wealth. So they intentionally blackened theirs with soot and charcoal, turning what was literally rot into high-class fashion. Can you imagine following a trend because someone's decayed teeth looked cool? Only in the Tudor court, honestly. What would you have done if you were at that court? Would you brave the smell or follow the Queen's style? I've got to say, this part of her life really flips everything you think you know about royalty and glamour. And just when you thought her hygiene couldn't get any stranger, Elizabeth I basically avoided water like it was the plague. Literally, people back then believed in something called miasmas, the idea that invisible poisons in the air or water could make you sick. So let me tell you, taking a bath wasn't just unusual, it was risky in her mind. And Elizabeth? She didn't take risks with her image. Instead of washing her body, she had this bizarre routine with linen shifts. Think of them like underdresses. She would change them multiple times a day. According to me, it's wild to picture hundreds of fresh fabrics swapping against her skin, all to pull sweat and dirt away, without a drop of water involved. It wasn't about cleanliness in the way we understand it. It was performance. She was creating this illusion of being fresh and perfect, all while avoiding actual contact with water. And when she did feel the need to freshen up, it wasn't a bath. Oh no. She used rose water, vinegar, and herbal mixtures. Handmaids would gently dab them onto her skin, making her smell like a walking garden of flowers. Not like someone who hadn't seen real soap in weeks. Can you imagine being a servant and having to handle all of that delicacy by hand? Every drop was controlled, every scent intentional. Here's the part that blows my mind. Bathing was actually a huge production. There was no plumbing, no running water. A proper bath meant hauling a massive wooden tub, heating dozens of buckets of water, and calling in multiple servants to stir, pour, and prep everything. It was like staging a royal ceremony every time she wanted to get clean. And yet, people considered her one of the cleanest women in England. Let that sink in. So, the Queen avoided water and relied on fabrics, perfumes, and meticulous rituals, all to maintain this untouchable, flawless image. Bathing wasn't a habit, it was a luxury and a show, a symbol that she was above ordinary hygiene. What would you have done in her shoes? Would you go through all that effort every day just to keep an illusion alive? I must say, the lengths she went to were both genius and kind of horrifying. And here's where it gets downright scary. Queen Elizabeth I didn't just wear makeup, she weaponized it. I'm talking Venetian ceruse, a mix of white lead and vinegar, layered thick on her skin every single day. That stuff literally ate away at her face over time. And for her lips, bright red colors made with mercury. Yeah, the same mercury that's poisonous. Let that sink in. Now, according to me, the consequences were brutal. Her skin developed rashes, open sores, and long-term scarring. Her body weakened. She sometimes trembled, and her memory could fade. Classic signs of mercury poisoning. Yet she didn't stop. Every day, she piled on more layers. I mean, imagine carefully smearing poison on your face because the illusion of perfection was more important than your own health. That's dedication or obsession. And here's the thing. It wasn't about vanity in the way we think today. Pale, flawless skin was a symbol of power, class, and even divine favor. The whiter and smoother, the more untouchable you appeared. Elizabeth turned her face into a mask of power, a frozen myth that made her seem ageless, untouchable, and godlike. She refused mirrors in her private rooms and even avoided natural light. No one, not even her painters, could see her real face. Instead, they used official face patterns copied from her younger portraits. Her paintings stayed eternally youthful, her legend preserved. What's wild is how meticulous she was with this illusion. She barely washed her face. Why risk removing the layers of makeup that had become her identity? The queen's skin, her face, her very body. It wasn't hers. It belonged to England, to her power, to her myth. Every layer of lead and mercury was a declaration. I am beyond human, untouchable, perfect. And even as her body silently betrayed her, she refused to let reality interfere with the story she had built. So think about that for a second. Her beauty routine was literally toxic, a daily ritual of self-poisoning, all to maintain the myth of Gloriana. Would you risk your health for image and power? Elizabeth did. And history remembers her not for the damage it caused, but for the legend it created. And just when you thought Elizabeth's hygiene couldn't get any more theatrical, it gets downright obsessive. The queen surrounded herself with scent like a fortress. Rose water, lavender oil, herbal infusions, pomanders tucked into her dress, even perfumed gloves. Everywhere she went, she carried a carefully controlled aroma. According to me, it wasn't just about smelling nice. It was about creating an untouchable, godlike presence, a bubble of perfection no ordinary mortal could breach. Her hair? Don't even get me started. Washing it was considered dangerous, so she stiffened it with sugar water and egg whites, powdering it meticulously to maintain shape and style. As she aged and lost hair, wigs, especially ornate ones, kept her image flawless. Every touch, every scent, every hairpin was part of a grand performance. She wasn't hiding dirt. She was hiding humanity. Every drop of perfume was armor. Every powdered wig was a shield. In her court, hygiene became theater, illusion over reality, perception over truth. What's crazy is how deliberate it all was. She knew the power of smell, the influence of ritual. While commoners might see it as excessive or even ridiculous, for Elizabeth, it was a strategy. A queen didn't just enter a room, she commanded it, with scent, color, and texture, creating awe without ever revealing the frailty beneath. Have you ever thought about how much work goes into just appearing clean? That's dedication, or obsession, depending on how you see it. And now, the part that makes modern bathrooms feel like heaven. Elizabeth's world had no toilets, no plumbing. She relied on close stools and chamber pots. Sounds simple, right? But behind that elegance, it was far from clean. The groom of the stool, a nobleman, handled her waist, helped her dress, and even discussed private political matters with her. Imagine the trust and the weird power dynamic there. For the rest of the palace, things were worse. Gong farmers or night soil men carried buckets of human waste through dark hallways at night, dumping it into cesspits. Despite the heavy perfume, the palaces stank. Dirt, hair, and rot accumulated under floors and carpets. Elizabeth often moved her court from palace to palace, not just for politics, but to escape the smell. It's wild to think that even a queen's golden halls were built on a foundation of filth. Yet she prioritized image above all. Perfume, rituals, and secrecy masked the grime. Her power wasn't just political, it was olfactory, visual, and symbolic. Cleanliness? That was secondary. Elizabeth I's hygiene was horrifying by today's standards, but she turned it into a tool of power. Rotten teeth, toxic makeup, scented rituals, every detail built the myth of Gloriana. Her cleanliness was never about health. So what's your take on this? Drop it in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, hit like and subscribe. I've got way more coming your way.